Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Good morning. You are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, streaming live at ksqd.org. I am Catherine Bell, and this is the Dream Journal, a weekly show where we explore the healing powers of your nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with you.
Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your...
All right, and we fade in the beautiful music of Rick Cleffel, created fresh every week for your listening enjoyment. Today's piece is called Ephemerograph. Thank you, Rick. In the words of Carl Jung, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. What if we could directly communicate with the land? What wisdom would be revealed if the land talked back? We speak today with local psychotherapist Linda Mastrangelo about the power of place and her direct experiences with the land, particularly her experiences in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and how these places have a dynamic effect on dreams, altered states of consciousness, and on connecting with the spirit and the memory of the land. So stay tuned. My name is Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and welcome to the Dream Journal. The Dream Journal is also a podcast, so you can look for that on all of your regular podcast places, including the KSQD website. And you can find it there at ksqd.org/the-dream-journal. So look for the journal, review it, subscribe, and tell a friend. It does help people to find the show. Only in Santa Cruz. Where else are you going to find a place where you can do call-ins about your dreams? So what is happening with me in my dream life? So this is a dream I've been mulling over for the last week and a half or so, and it's part of my my good dream kick, which I think is really kind of my new obsession of really paying attention to good dreams. Why not? We always look at the bad dreams and go, oh my goodness, it's so terrible. Let's work on this one. But what about the beautiful dreams? And so this is a dream I call Jenny's GPS. And Jenny's a dear, dear friend of mine. And she, in the dream, is sleeping in the car. She has the car seat pulled out on the passenger side, and she's got this full mattress with pillows and blankets, and she's so comfy, going to sleep, and she's given me her GPS to follow. And there's all kinds of funny things happen with the GPS. But one of the beautiful moments I love is that I'm holding the GPS so I can navigate from it, and there starts generating these beautiful colors. Just the phone is suddenly these beautiful painterly colors are come flowing into the phone, and then it starts unspooling onto the landscape. And so that all around me where we're driving through are these gorgeous turquoise and teal and pink and white. There's these gorgeous kind of landscapes that are in these amazing colors. And so I'm going on a driving trip with my beloved Max. It's coming up in October, and where I'm just thinking this is kind of prescient. We're going to be having a happy trip, and I feel like life is like that sometimes. I get to have a happy trip. How about that? Is it okay if life is all right? It's good. All right. So as usual, I will be inviting call-ins during the last 20 minutes of the show, so you can jot down the number now. The number is 831-900-5773, or you can email me at any time at onair@ksqd.org. I'll be checking the email throughout the show. That number, in case you just got to your pen, the number is 831-900-5773. So I am super excited that I actually have in the studio with me, local therapist. There she is, Linda Mastrangelo. Hi, Linda.
Oh my gosh, so excited to be here
Yes.
and be here.
And to be here. I know this is my first in-studio guest since something happened last year. I can't remember. What was that?
What was that?
It's been a while. Linda was one of my early guests and my beloved friend, so I'm delighted to have her back on the show.
Oh my gosh. So great.
So Linda Mastrangelo is the new executive director at the Institute for Dream Studies. I want to talk more about that for sure. She is a psychotherapist with a private practice in the San Francisco Bay Area, specializing in bereavement and dream work. Linda has presented her work internationally and has written for numerous publications. She is a contributor for the books Sleep Monsters and Superheroes, and which is about children, right? Is that children's dreams?
Yes, it's a whole series of topics.
Oh, okay.
Ranging from nightmares to incredible experiences with time-space knowledge. That was my chapter.
Ooh, time-space knowledge.
And sleep paralysis. And so it's a real neat book for parents, but also educators or anyone working with children who want to learn more about their
called
dreams.
Sleep Monsters and Superheroes. Excellent. And then the other book is Dreams That Change Our Lives. Linda is also on the board of directors at the IASD, International Association for the Study of Dreams, as am I. We're buddies that way. And she is a graduate professor at the School of Consciousness and Transformative Studies at John F. Kennedy University up in the Bay Area. And her webpage is lightningtreetherapy.com. So, well, Linda, welcome.
Oh, again, so great to be here with you. I have a big smile on my face.
I know, it's fabulous. I mean, actual like hugs and stuff. It's like amazing. So, so why don't you well, actually, I'm going to just go ahead and ask about Lightning Tree Therapy, your webpage. I don't remember if we talked last time. I didn't pre-review the show, but that's okay. So, is that from a dream or something? Lightning Tree. Tell me about that.
Yeah, actually, it was. And it actually goes well with our topic that we're discussing, which is
tell me.
So juicy for me. I love this. Well, in the dream, I'm actually in a place that looks very much like Carmel. And even the beautiful trees over there, the cypress trees, there was one in particular in the dream that had an extraordinary potency to it. It was this huge cypress tree that was in the middle of this beach area. And what was so interesting about these dreams, I imagine, Catherine, you understand, sometimes in dreams there's an expectation feeling that something big is about to happen.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, this kind of right before something feeling. And even in the dream, there's a crowd of people that are gathering around this tree as if there is an event happening as well. So even the people around were also picking up on this event. And so at that moment, I find myself in the tree.
Oh,
with my colleague who she's wonderful. She and I do a lot of bereavement and loss work together. We run a grief group together. And so she was in the tree. And she was above me, and I was below her, and our arms outstretched. Hers was pointing upward into the sky along a branch, and mine was pointing below into the earth. And then lightning went through us.
wow.
From the sky and through us and down into the earth.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Incredible.
very powerful dream.
Wow.
And it kind of reminded me of in Tarot the Magician card. If you see, he has the one hand pointing upward and one hand pointing below. So that dream happened right at a time where I was really exploring what my next, I guess, area was going to be, or dealing with just deep changes in my life. So it really kind of connected me to this new work and this new relationship I was going to have with this particular colleague and friend, dear friend. So, but it really connected me to the work with the land. I really believe, and the tree itself carries a lot of layers for me.
Well, it reminds me of Gadstra. How you say the Norse tree of the world.
The Yggdrasil, yes.
Thank you. Yggdrasil is how you say it.
Mm-hmm. And I've done a lot of work with the tree and Yggdrasil and that Nordic cosmology. So, so there are a lot of layers to this dream.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I wanted to honor it, and that's where the lightning tree came from.
Wonderful. Fabulous. So tell me about place. Like, what is place? Like, and how does it show up in dreams?
It's a great question, and there's multiple responses to that, because there's I love your dream, actually, also. What a beautiful segue to this topic as well. Where you're a part of this landscape, and you're connecting with it in this dynamic way. I really was moved by that dream. We might have to talk about that later.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. My dreams are fair game. You're certainly.
So there's the power of the place in dreams when we are in an actual place. So what I mean by that is that we can be affected by the land itself when, and we're a part, and if we become a part of it or we're revisiting that can certainly be reflected in our dreams. So I'll give you an example, and this might be fun for our listeners who live here in Santa Cruz, and they may have their own stories. But my first introduction to the Santa Cruz Mountains was we were living on this property that was up above Summit, pretty remote. And what we found was that, well, my first night, I woke up to the sound of this incredible, very hard to describe, but very ethereal music. It woke me up. So I was in that, what we would call that hypnagogic state. Not quite asleep, not quite awake, that gateway.
Right.
And I heard this music, and I woke up and I looked outside. Nothing. Nothing. And I fell back asleep, and once again woken up to this extraordinary music. And then it finally connected to me that it was the trees. And the trees were singing.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was the music from the trees. And I was just, because there was all these there was this redwood grove right behind our place. And so that was my introduction to the mountains.
Wow. Maybe it's something about being in the sleeping state, or just sleep-wake liminal state, that we kind of, our guard is down, and it's one of the chief functions of the brain is to make us to be a filter, to ignore things.
Right.
So we can catch it before the brain is fully online, and maybe hear some of those things that are out there all the time.
And that's why I love that state, and I have had quite a few experiences in that hypnagogic state that I think, again, exactly, really shifted my consciousness around the way we can be connected to these other vibrations and these other levels when we're in that state. So that particular place too, I also believe I had a lot of experiences on that land that really informed me a lot about the land itself. And there's some fun stories about that too.
Well, you could share some of those fun stories. This would be a good time.
Well, it's interesting with the auditory phenomena. So I had another similar but different auditory phenomena on that land. Once again, sleeping, and then I'm completely woken up by this music. But this time it reminded me as if people were camped out right outside my window, but like an old-timey camp like with miners and people singing rounds.
Oh, interesting.
So loud.
Are you sure that wasn't the neighbors?
Well, I thought that. I'm like, what are people doing? It was the middle of the week, work week, and it was like 3, 4 in the morning. And I woke up, and sure enough, I look outside and nothing. Everything is quiet. There's no lights on and nothing. So I'm like, all right. So I went back to again, woken up. And this happened 3 nights in a row. And what I found with each night, I started to listen and pay attention to the particulars of it. And I found that it was a woman's voice that was singing. And she kind of had that Ethel Merman, like booming, like, rah, kind of voice.
Right.
And she would sing, I guess it's called rounds, right? You would sing a verse, and then these
like people
2 women
started
would,
in.
yes,
Yeah,
and then they
before
would
you-
sing it back, kind of thing, and it felt like that that kind of campfire round, you know, sing along. And but her voice just got us like, she sounded like she was this you know, Ethel Merman, big presence, you know. And I think she was thinking about Jack, and you know, I was even getting some of the lyrics, and I was like, okay, what is going on here? So I decided to research, and sure enough, I found this woman named Mary Bennett. And she was around so there was a lot of, I guess, silver mining in Santa Cruz.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it turns out that behind where I lived was a silver mine, abandoned silver mine. And this woman was called, I guess she was like the Amazon of this part of Santa Cruz, Mary Bennett. And she was described as this huge woman with a booming voice and big presence.
Yeah.
And that she was a big deal, I guess, right here in Santa Cruz.
Wow.
So that was fun.
Absolutely. Well, I want to ask you more questions about that. I want to do a little piece of music here, but I want to find out after we come back a little bit about what you think is going on here and how we can like respect these voices, because like you know, you've been reading a little bit of Carl Jung, because why not? You know, that's what we do. And it's like not so much about why the dream happens as what for. Like, what are these things for? So we're going to get to that when we come right back. And I'm going to play this song here, which is Dreams by Beck, right? Is that the name? Okay. Which is one of Linda's favorite songs. And I love it too. I had never heard of it before she introduced it to me. So let me let you know in about 20 minutes, I will be opening the phones. You can call in at that point at 831-900-5773. And also you can send me email anytime on air at ksqd.org. My name is Catherine Bell, and you are listening to The Dream Journal on the Squid, 90.7 FM, and my guest is Linda Mastrangelo.
Running circles around, 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 around. When nothing's right, just close your eyes and you're gone. Dreams, dreams. She's making me high, she's making me high. Dreams.
My name is Catherine Bell, and you're listening to K-Squid 90.7 FM, streaming live at ksqd.org. And my guest today is Linda Mastrangelo. You can learn more about her at her webpage, lightningtreetherapy.com. So we've been talking about the power of place and how we get communication from the environment around us. And Linda has been sharing with us this dream about Mary Bennett. Is that the name? It's this woman who lived a long time ago at a silver mine close to where she was living. And she heard the songs when she was waking up 3 nights in a row.
3 nights.
Yeah.
And then it stopped.
Yeah, so
And that was it.
What's that all about?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you bringing in Carl Jung, because he was also one who connected with the land, and he also recognized the power of that. He says that we become part of the land, and And that includes the memories. And I feel that that's what was happening in my situation, that somehow there was a resonance, or one of the things I'm interested in, I don't even know if the timing of it had significance too. I'm not really sure. But what I appreciated is that I was able to validate some of the the experiences that I had. And that's something that if any of our listeners are experiencing things like that, I would highly recommend checking it out. And I happen to be lucky to find some things that actually connected to what I was experiencing. But it makes you wonder, right? Like what the memory of the land and how the land can give us, information and knowledge. And, that goes for a lot of trauma as well.
I bet.
Yeah. And I certainly can appreciate that in terms of, holding that reverence for the land and nature, and for us to have that connection will make us better stewards, I guess, or
absolutely.
being much more connected, even and to the indigenous people, because I also want to bring that in, because I do believe that there is so much trauma here, and that we could definitely work with and heal and be respectful of.
Absolutely. So I think part of what's the communication happening is to connect us more to this our past and our environment, literally our present as well. It's like the scars. I mean, I went through a whole bunch of trauma dreams at one point, and then I had with collapsing buildings and cities being destroyed, and then I had a dream where the landscape was healing, and that there was like things were kind of growing over, like vines were growing over the ruins, and I found a clock in a river that it was kind of like all warped, but there was like something about healing. And, I hope that we get to be part of that healing as we connect with the land.
Yeah. And we certainly, as a community, we're dealing with this. I mean,
we're
around
approaching
this time,
the 1-year anniversary of the
Yeah.
CZU fire. That is true. Yeah. A little smoke in the air this morning. I'm like, oh, what's that? What is that? Smoke. No. Yeah, exactly. So really wanted to respect that. There's been so many changes in the land up where I live, which got burned. And it's a lot of life, but it's a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And so, kind of respecting that. So you talked about the land talking back. Like, what is that? Like, have you gotten like, you heard like this, Mary Bennett voice, the singing, but what other examples do you have of getting information from the land?
So whether you're on the land and getting direct communication, like the trees for me was big. Hearing them sing kind of brought me into this new awareness around trees as sentient beings and how they communicate. And it, I guess it was a rabbit hole of sorts where I just started to explore the trees in a new way as the guardians, the keepers. Certainly the redwoods, they're amazing. I mean, we live in an amazing place. And what I found through some connections, Diane Beresford Kroger is her name. She's amazing. She's the scientist, but she's also from a long lineage of druids.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes.
And following her work, she's been a proponent of how trees will save the world and save the environment. And so I've been really paying attention to her work and connecting with ways in which we can, be connected with the environment in this way, and learning about trees. And certainly the redwoods give us a lot of tree medicine. That was really neat to learn that there's something that the trees exhale. I know in Japan they call it tree bathing. So this idea of being healed and connected to trees really helped me. They literally sang to me, so I felt welcome and honored by that, and so it made me more connected. Also, one of the other phenomena I discovered was that landscapes that just showed up in my dreams that I may not have been aware of, that I've never visited, but they were calling to me in different ways.
But these are like landscapes that exist somewhere on the earth at some time or somewhere.
Exactly. And those dreams are neat because to me, that was more of an ancestral connection. I had a very interesting dream. So I did a dream incubation. So this is setting an intention before you go to sleep to get information and knowledge. And so I asked about my ancient ancestors. I said, I want to know about them. And so I had the most bizarre dream that at first I was like, what does this even have to do with my question? So in the dream, I'm in a science lab with this other scientist, and all of a sudden these 5 snakes just entered the room, and they were one on top of the other, and they moved in sync. And they went directly up to me and just towered over me.
Wow.
And it was one of the most intense experiences I had in a dream.
5 snakes.
5 snakes and laser-like focus on me. And I remember I was trying to, in the dream, I'm trying to like throw things to like maybe divert their attention somewhere else, but they kept coming back to me.
Okay.
And towering. It was just like this meeting of like, okay, obviously I need to pay attention to this, right? So I woke up very confused. But luckily I often draw my dreams, especially if the images are very very profound or very, acute. So I did. I drew the snakes, and what was interesting, that's when it hit me, it looked like an emblem.
Oh.
Because the way that they were one on top of the other in sync made me think, oh, this must be a symbol or something. So I looked it up, and sure enough, there was this excerpt from a book. A man was talking about the ancient city of Karnak in France. And there was this burial site for ancestors that had these snake emblems on it, the way that I saw it in the dream.
Interesting.
And sure enough, they uncovered underneath this, it was on this big like dolma stone, the big stones like you see in Stonehenge, that kind of
Okay, like a standing stone.
standing stones,
Yep.
right? And underneath there were 5 buried axes to again say this was an ancestral burial site.
Oh, just like 5 snakes. Whoa, okay.
And that's when it was like, oh my, I got my answer. So perhaps maybe my ancestors had come from this place in Karnak.
Right.
And the science part kind of threw me. I'm like, well, what is that? Why was it in a lab?
Yeah.
And later I did a DNA test
Yeah, sure.
and found that, sure enough, I have ancestors over there.
Oh, I see.
So I think the lab part was maybe giving me insight into maybe the
science.
the science
like
of it.
doing the test. Yeah,
Doing the test.
The genetic test, yeah.
So-
Okay, interesting. So so you had a vision of this place and then later found out that it was probably a place that your ancestors are from. Yeah, okay. Now, this is something that I know that you're very interested in as well, is ancestor dreaming.
Yeah.
And I can see how it kind of could tie in with landscape in that it is, we lived much more on the land in ages past than we do now. And I wonder if you want to say a little more about that, or you have an example to share. Another example, because this certainly counts as one.
Yeah, sure. I think the other piece had to do with the more, I guess you could say, the more immediate, more recent ancestors from Italy.
Okay.
But then also kind of bringing in some ancient stuff. But having more snakes again. So the serpent emblem, but this time it was the Orphic egg symbol. And if our listeners don't know what that is, it's an egg with a snake wrapped around it. And snakes were really prevalent, have been prevalent in my dreams. I do a whole presentation and work on the serpent in dreams. Maybe that could be another topic.
Boy, it could be. You can come back another time for sure. Yes.
But what was interesting about that was the Orphic symbol. I found in the town my family's from is Accadia. It's in Apulia region in Italy. There was an ancient site called the Pit of the Orphics that live. I guess they either worship there. I don't know. So there was a lot of dreams giving me, again, more connection to these ancestors in that part of the world. So I again, I invite the listeners, if you're interested in doing ancestry, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that. And I would definitely recommend, obviously, genealogy and talking to your ancestors. But I also recommend bringing dreams and doing dream incubations to see if you can get more. Because I have a lot of interesting dreams about maybe possible ancestors even that I'm connecting with that I haven't verified yet. But I'm definitely, it piques my curiosity.
Yeah. It's interesting. There is something that comes to us through the DNA and the mitochondria and all that. There's something that comes through the generations, and if we could be even cleaning up our ancestors' karma to some degree, I sometimes think that's part of what I'm doing, in my personal growth, in my personal life is kind of correcting some of the things that happened. We go all the way back to primitive times and animals even, and there's trauma all through the animal kingdom. I had 3 baby birds drowned in my pool all at once. 3 baby birds. I know, it's so sad. And these stellar jays, and they had just fledged. They had the flight feathers, but they were all fuzzy all in their bodies. And I'm like, I'm so sad they drowned. And it got me thinking about trauma, like even in the animal world. It's like, my babies all died, right?
Absolutely.
And so there's like maybe there's something as humans that we are starting to kind of pull ourselves up out of the trauma and start to imagine what it's like to live, without trauma, at least for moments at a time in the work that we do. And so it makes sense that we would be awakening these things from our ancestors. I actually recently did past life regression kind of a thing, which was an amazing circumstance, and I ended up in south of France as well. Yes, interesting coincidence, and
maybe we're related.
Maybe we're related. I think in so many other ways. Yes, right. But there was a lot. It was a lot to it for me. There was a lot of like relief, like unfolding a piece of me that was like given to me to heal. It was from the past. And like sometimes people have wonderful childhood, great parents, but they're still very troubled, and I think sometimes that's from past lives, perhaps.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing that in too, because if you think about it, when we connect our dreams to our waking life situation, I mean, a lot of it is whatever we're going through in waking life will certainly show up in dreams. And if we, let's say we have those past life dreams, for example, whatever we were going through in that particular time or life can absolutely resonate with what we're dealing with. Maybe that particular life and what's going on with you now is very much a thread and connected, right, and needing to be healed or looked at, explored.
Absolutely. And I'm totally comfortable to think about it either as a metaphor or as an actual thing. It doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to play another piece of music here. This will be Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles. And you're listening to The Dream Journal. In fact, this is our second break, so that means that, in fact, Max is looking a little too comfortable out there. So go ahead and harass Max. The phones are now open. 831-900-5773 is the number to call. You are welcome to call if you would like to speak on the air. I actually already have an email from Annie, so thank you for sending the email. And in fact, Annie, if you she sent a dream that she'd like us to speak about, and if you'd like to call in, we could ask you some questions, because that's a lot of what Working Dreams is about, is asking questions. But otherwise, we will just ask the questions to the air. So this is the Dream Journal. You are listening to K-Squid 90.7 FM, Community Radio of Santa Cruz. Did I say the phone number? 831-900-5773. My name is Catherine Bell, and you can also send an email to onair@ksqd.org. Right now, you're listening to The Dream Journal. My name is Catherine Bell, and my in-studio guest today is Linda Mastrangelo, Yahoo! And the phones are open, so you're welcome to call 831-900-5773. Max is listening for the call. That's 900 KSQD in the Santa Cruz area, or send me an email at onair@ksqd.org. So, well, we do have this dream that Annie emailed. So why don't we start with this, and maybe she'll call in, or maybe we'll just talk about it this way. So she says, hi there. I had a few dreams last night, a series of short dreams. If you could speak on either of these, that would be wonderful. I was an acupuncturist in the first mini dream. One of my friends I work for was dressed in a white nurse outfit and brought me a tray of what I would need for a client. My client was a male laying face up on the table in a medical room setting. However, I am not a certified acupuncturist, which would have been my first question for Annie. So as my client was waiting for treatment to begin, I was Googling what points to put the needles in. And I also thought, how do I even use these needles? And that's all I remember. I also recall feeling rushed to look up where to put the needles before he noticed it was too long. So let's go with that dream. I think that's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, more healing.
Mm-hmm. Healing. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And where she is the healer, whereas Annie in the dream is the healer.
Yeah.
But just learning as she goes, not knowing, not having been trained, and like learning as we go. And maybe a lot of times we are just learning as we go.
Absolutely. And I would be curious to ask Annie, like, you're right. Annie, call.
Right.
I have so many questions. Why acupuncturist? So maybe we can ask each other.
Yeah.
What do you think of, and why?
Yeah.
What does the acupuncturist do? How does it heal?
Well, they call that like alternative healer. Like it's not like the mainstream in this culture,
Right.
where you would be like, the urgent care, or your GP or something. But it's working with the subtle layers of the body, like so there may be something kind of spiritual here, and there's something about connecting with the meridians and those acupuncture points. There's something very energetic about that for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had the same thought as well. Like, I was thinking of those meridian points.
Yeah. I might be curious to ask Annie if she remembers any of those particular points that when she woke up, because there might be like an offering from the dream of some specific healing that you could do, even just with pressure for yourself. So if you remember any of those particular points, Annie, that might be part of the gift of the dream.
I was also struck by the statement of being too long or something. Did you see it? Can you repeat that?
Of course, yeah. So there's something about where Annie is worried that the client is going to notice that she's taking too long, and that so there's a certain pressure to appear professional, even though she's clearly not a professional, but there's this pressure to appear professional, like, madly Googling and trying to rush. And that makes me wonder if there's any places in your life, Annie, where you're feeling rushed, or any places where you're kind of putting on this guise of appearing competent when you don't feel competent. And it's fine. It's something that we do through life, but maybe to bring some tenderness to those moments of your life when you're feeling that you're just kind of, like imposter syndrome, like we think
That's
about.
exactly.
Yeah. And just bring some tenderness there, and maybe it's okay to ask for help, or it's okay to say, I just need another minute here, to notice those places when you're feeling rushed.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even the flip side, sometimes we put that on ourselves.
Yeah.
Where maybe we are very competent, and yet we question. Like that imposter syndrome can go both ways too.
Good point.
Right?
Good point. Yes, I get that on the radio station all the time. I'm like, who let me get in charge of this thing? It's only been 2 years to have you. I guess. I still feel like a beginner.
I am curious about who she's working on. I wonder if that also might have some significance.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting. Maybe some information about their clothing or age, or if they're anybody familiar. Yeah. Right. Excellent. Okay. Well, let's look at the second part. There's a second dream here. I was in a parking lot. I came to realize my car was stolen. Oh, well, let me just give it the number while I'm reading the stream, in case anyone wants to call in. 831-900-5773 for Annie or anyone else who wants to call. So this other dream, I am in a parking lot. I come to realize my car is stolen, but I'm not upset. This was my first car in waking life. Then I found the current van I own in the parking lot with 2 guys now owning it. I accused them of stealing the car. They said no, they bought it, and I believed them. Soon thereafter, there were cops or some people of authority looking for people in the parking lot. So I hid in the van under the blanket, and so did another man in a different part of the van. So I wonder if these were the same night. It seems like they were the same night. So there, again, there's this hiding.
Right.
Interesting.
Or feeling like self-conscious, or
or
hiding.
And not not feeling not an owner, like this other car. These other people say it's their car, but the dreamer knows it's the dreamer's car, but not willing to either confront these people or even to go up and talk to the police and say, hey, they took my car, or this is my car. I don't know how they have it, but this is my car. Like standing up for yourself.
Standing up. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm curious. The first, if we're looking at space and landscape again, parking lot.
Ooh, yes. Parking lot. Like, where am I parked and not moving or
Not
something?
moving.
Yeah. Or it could be resting.
Resting. Car dreams are very interesting. One of the ways I hold car dreams is that they are the way we're moving through life. So if we think about, the first car, the first part of the dream is the car
My first car in real waking life was the part of the car that was missing at the beginning of the dream. So that's interesting. Like, what was going on for me when I owned that car, that very first car of mine, and it's gone now. So did that get stolen from me? Do I not have access to that part of myself anymore?
And I'm curious too, because she doesn't seem, there's not a lot of energy about, not missing it.
Right. I was not upset.
Not upset.
Right.
That was okay.
And by the way, thank you for including that. I always appreciate when people write the feelings in their dreams.
So important.
Or if there's no feeling, that you would expect there to be feeling, that's important to write as well. So thank you for writing that, because otherwise we'd be wondering, so how did you feel when your car was taken? But not upset.
Not upset.
Which could be a good thing. It could be like, oh, well, I guess I'm done with that, letting it go. Or could be, maybe I'm not allowed to be upset. I don't know. Yeah.
And then the van.
That's just the current
vehicle.
Right.
I would be curious if that is actually a car she does have in waking life, or is Is that a...
Sounds like it. The current van I own, it sounds
Okay,
like it.
yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh. And that's where she's hiding. She hid it in the van under the blanket. So they're with a man there. So I like it that there's support. There's another person there. But this van feels safe to me. It's a place that I can hide. I do feel safe here.
And again, I'm curious with the first dream too, because it's like hiding myself, not feeling confident.
Yeah. Yeah, there's maybe it's a parallel here. Yeah.
And that's often neat when we look at, if we have 2 or 3 dreams in the night, to start seeing how they connect.
Yes.
Like themes.
Yeah, I've seen people try to sort of purport the idea that there's usually a topic we're working on, and that we kind of get better at it throughout the night, hopefully. By
Like
morning.
we keep reworking it.
We keep reworking. Well, we'll try it this way. No, that was like, well, let's try it this way now. Which is another reason you should be sure to get a full night's sleep, because then you'll get those better dreams near the morning. In that theory. I don't know. In that theory. So, Annie, thank you so much for writing in. I appreciate you sending those dreams. Let me go back to the inbox, see if there's any. Nope, we're good. So, Linda, I want to say we have about 7 or 8 minutes left. And I wanted to talk a little about the Institute for Dream Studies, which you are now the mucky muck, right? So I understand. So what is the Institute of Dream Studies? And tell us about your new role.
Well, first of all, it's a full circle story. I was actually the first cohort of the Institute for Dream Studies.
Oh, wow.
This was founded by Justina Lasley, who basically ushered me into the dreaming community and ISD, and then just me really diving into owning my call. I'm thinking of Annie now again, like how we step into our roles and our power. And I felt that the Institute for Dream Studies was this extraordinary place where I didn't even know dream studies existed.
Right.
It was one of those like shocking, like, what? This is here and you exist?
Right.
And wait, ISD, which is the International Association for the Study of Dreams, is a very dynamic international community. So I really owe Justina a lot as far as my trajectory of bringing dreams into the world and in my profession and my own personal healing.
So they have they have practitioner training programs. Is that
yeah? It's really tailored. What I appreciate about, so there's a certificate. So those who are interested in either they're doing either they're like a therapist, or working as a healer, or social worker, or even nurses, or whoever, or want to bring in dreams to enhance their professions. That works really beautifully. It's also for people who might have chaplain, spiritual advisors,
coaching,
right. Anyone who would like to use dreams to better,
because dreams really, they get right to the heart of the matter. They're
to the heart, as we know.
You know exactly what is going on for the person. I mean, at least if you start with a dream, you're being current. This is real. This is now.
That's right.
Yes.
And what's beautiful about this program is that we invite people. They will be doing their own personal work, and this is key. Not just learning about theories or how, it's like you're doing the work,
right.
And that I think is so important. So it's certainly personal growth is happening, but we're taking that personal growth and putting it out into the world. So the dreams plus action equals change is our mission, really, there to really bring out that it's important that we do our own deep work, and that we put it out into the world. And
is it a multi-year certificate, or what is the?
It's 1 year, and it's very interactive. And right now, it's online. It's been online, which makes it really accessible. And we have students from all over the world, which is amazing. We also offer, we're going to be offering more specialized training. So that's more, so for people who want to maybe get more deeply into a particular topic, like we're going to be doing death, dying, and loss. You know, this is for people who really want to bring in, dream work with that in mind. That could be hospice nurses, therapists who work with grief and loss, death doulas. We'll be doing dream activism, creativity in dream. I mean, you can imagine there's so many different specialties that we can work with. So that's really exciting.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's the Institute of Dreams for Dream Studies? Is
Yep.
that,
Institute for Dream Studies.
and what's the webpage of that?
That's instituteforDreamstudies.org.
.org, okay.
Yeah. So if you want to learn more about that, we just closed our applications, but we have an amazing new cohort coming in September, but we're going to be offering this new training and workshops and
So
things like that.
you do have like ongoing-ish things like workshops that you can just drop in and
Absolutely.
Okay, you don't have to sign up for the full deal right away. You want to test it out a little. Look at those workshops, and you can check the webpage. I'll have a link to the webpage on the episode page as well. And so in our last few minutes, I'm going to spring a question on Linda, which
Challenge.
we haven't talked about, which is that some of you may know that Linda was my major cohort for the Festival of Dreams.
Yes.
In 2019, which we had at the Museum of Art and History in Santa Cruz, and I'm wearing my T-shirt, of course.
I love that.
And I have to say that now things are hopefully letting up, that I'm going to be getting the itch to maybe do another one. And so, I want to coordinate with the Southern California people, because we have these events, these regional events, and we want people to be able to go to both. So we don't want to have them at the same time. But what this is this would be like a little mini IASD conference, but it would be here in Santa Cruz or somewhere nearby, maybe Monterey, maybe at Mount Madonna. Don't know. It's all very hypothetical at this point. But last year we had we had a full day session, and then we had the Friday evening session, all day Saturday, and then a closing circle on Sunday. And it was so much fun. We had workshops and classes and dream groups, and we had movement and music, and we had about 100 people at the museum.
Amazing.
We really took over the place.
We did. Took over the town.
We did. We had our own dream ball where you dress up as a dream character and get to go dance in the Santa Cruz streets.
Dream parade.
Dream parade.
Fantastic.
Right through right to Pacific Avenue. And so we're hoping to do something like that in either 2022 or 2023 or something. What do you think, Linda? Maybe?
Oh my gosh, you don't have to twist my arm.
Okay.
That experience still is it just warms my heart. I miss it. And anytime, we can connect with the community.
Yes.
Santa Cruz is so special, and we have an amazing community of dreamers here.
We do. We really do. Yeah.
So
good. Okay, we'll sign you up.
all right. You got me on the radio.
Yeah. Okay.
Saying yes.
Anybody listening who wants to sign up, I always take volunteers. It's really fun. We have a good time and planning for this, and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. That's one of my mottos.
Yeah, it should be something you feel passionate about.
In fact, we're looking for people who are passionate about advertising, because the last round, nobody was that passionate about advertising. We're like, well, we still got to do something. Although you did the beautiful art, Linda. You did all the social media art pages.
Oh, right. The marketing stuff. That's fun.
That was, good. So, okay.
Keep Santa Cruz dreaming.
That's it. Keep Santa Cruz dreaming. Fabulous. So, Linda, how can folks get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, you mentioned the website.
Lightning Tree
Therapy.
Lightning Tree Therapy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then Institute for Dream Studies is also a great way. I do want to plug one thing. Speaking of ISD, we have a lucid dreaming conference coming up in the fall. So you can look up ISD. It's through Glidewing. So also our IDS, Institute for Dream Studies program, is also through Glidewing. So if people wanted to learn more about the conference or IDS, they can go through that as well.
Okay.
And there's other great consciousness workshops and programs on Glidewing too. It's a
Fabulous.
great resource.
All right. And the IASD website is asdreams.org. And then we have institutefordreamstudies.org as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay. And do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
So I think I don't have to say this, but we live in an amazing place. I think Catherine's nodding her head emphatically.
Yes.
Santa Cruz is so special, and I invite all of you to remember to, maybe this is what we do, is just paying attention to our dreams and our messages on the land, and even the indigenous aspect, of course, and nature, and perhaps connecting with your dreams in that way will lead you also to newer, deeper appreciation and action. I'm really wanting to emphasize how important it is that dreams are meant for us to work with, and if we can put that out into the world,
Dreams plus action equals
equals
change.
change,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. Excellent.
So that would be my
Okay.
final word.
I like that. Thank you so much, Linda Mastrangelo, up in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So glad to have you here.
Oh, it was great. Thank you, Catherine. So much fun.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So next week we will have on Dream Podcast Powerhouse, Debbie Spector-Weisman. Debbie does the acclaimed podcast Dream Power Radio, and there's a TV show called The Dream Power Show. Next week we'll be focusing in particular on the power of snippets, especially since the dream that Debbie credits with changing her life consisted of just one word. So listen live to the broadcast Saturday at 10 a.m. or catch the podcast replay, which as usual will be released on Monday following the show.
Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss.
I am Catherine Bell, and this has been the Dream Journal. Thanks for listening. You can find out more about my dream coaching practice at experientialdreamwork.com. And you can email me at catherine@ksquid.org. That's KATHERINE@ksqd.org. If you have a dream you're curious about, do contact me so I can sign you up for a free introductory dream consultation. If you like this show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or tell a friend how much you are enjoying the show. I'd like to thank my program assistant, Max Deaton, and Rick Kleffel, who created once again a brand new composition of ambient music. And our new team member, Carol Milady, who is helping me with my social media posting. Thank you, Carol. My Thursdays are now happy days since I don't have to worry so much about the social media. So thank you, Carol. And thank you to all the fabulous donors who support this station. K-Squid is 100% listener supported, and donations are always welcome at ksqd.org. And when you donate, be sure to tell them that you are a Dream Journal listener. When you wake up tomorrow morning, take a minute to look within. Do you remember a dream? Write it down and bring it to the next Dream Journal. I am Catherine Bell, and you are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz.